It's not surprising that Naruto Uzumaki, the titular character of the Naruto series, will have the most important fights of the story. Throughout part 1, Naruto has the climactic fight of almost every single arc, or at least he participates in them, and this is a very normal trend for a shonen anime slash manga. The main character will get the most important fights. But this is kinda broken after the time skip for a while, because Naruto doesn't really get a big fight up until midway through Naruto Shippuden. You see, in the Kazekage Rescue arc, the first arc after the time skip, Naruto fights against the Itachi body double, which sure he lands the final blow, but that was mostly Kakashi fighting anyway. And then he pursues Deidara, he goes into his two-tailed state, goes a little bit ballistic against Deidara, Kakashi suppresses his chakra, but it wasn't that big of a deal, you know. Naruto had a couple of panels fighting Deidara there, but Deidara was armless and very much nerfed for the battle anyway. Gaara versus Deidara and Chio and Sakura versus Sasori were definitely the two set-piece battles of that arc. Naruto kinda took a backseat. And when we move to the Tenchi Bridge arc, sure, Naruto does appear a lot in that arc, but the main battle was Orochimaru versus the Four Tails. And you may be saying, well, that was Naruto. Naruto was the Four Tails. And yes, of course, it was Naruto's body doing that. But he wasn't really under control of his actions, was he? That was essentially the Nine Tails fighting Orochimaru and not Naruto. So Naruto doesn't do much in the Tenchi Bridge arc either. In the end, when Sasuke shows up, they have a very brief scuffle there and Orochimaru goes away with Sasuke. So there isn't a set-piece battle that Naruto is the main character of in the first two arcs of Naruto Shippuden, which, if you think about it, it's pretty strange. Like, imagine if Naruto Part 1 started off with Naruto not being a main player of the climactic battles. Of course, he was still the character with the most screen time, and he was everywhere. His presence was noted, and the character was being developed, but this was just kind of a strange choice by Kishimoto that I kinda respect. He was doing a lot for the side characters, especially Sakura in the Kazekage Rescue arc. I mean, Sakura versus Sasori is one of the greatest fights in the series, and it's kind of like the only moment Sakura really shines. So when we get to the Akatsuki Suppression Arc, and Kakashi says, yeah, Naruto, you have to learn an extremely powerful S-rank jutsu in order to have any chance against Sasuke, because you guys got stomped by Sasuke. We thought Naruto was finally gonna have his debut set-piece battle in Naruto Shippuden. Because there's the thing about training arcs in shonen series. Usually, there's gonna be a payoff of the character learning the jutsu in that very same arc, and usually the payoff is very good. There's something extremely cathartic about watching a character learning a particular technique for several chapters or episodes, and then the character finally uses that to defeat a powerful villain in an epic moment. The first time Naruto used the Rasengan against Kabuto was one of the best moments of the entire Naruto series. Everything led up to that moment in the Search for Tsunade arc. Jiraiya teaching Naruto how to twist his chakra and use the Rasengan, Naruto not being able to master it, and then he comes up with the idea of using a shadow clone to help him out. The entire scene is amazing. The payoff, Naruto landing the Rasengan, I always cry when I watch that scene. This has everything to do with Naruto's development as a character with his convictions and also with the hardships he went through to master the Rasengan. So naturally you would expect the same thing to be the case here when Naruto is learning a more powerful technique in the Rassenshuriken. And there's the thing, I prefer the Rassenshuriken training over the Rasengan training. I think it's way more interesting and cool to see. Kakashi's idea of using an army of shadow clones to learn faster is extremely good because, yeah, Naruto is capable of doing that, and this is how the shadow clones work. You retain the knowledge of your shadow clones, so you can cut down the time by a lot, especially Naruto because it can produce 1 billion clones. Naruto cutting through the waterfall was also a very cool scene to look at, and him progressing from stage to stage, mastering wind style, and eventually being able to fuse wind style into his Rasengan after realizing, okay, I can actually use 2 clones now in order to do my Rasengan here, to infuse wind style and also to spin it. So the Rassenshuriken training works for so many different reasons. It also explains a lot about the elemental transformations in the Naruto universe and how they interact, information that the audience didn't really know up until that point, and then we get to know as Naruto learns it as well, which is just very satisfying to do. In the meantime, there is this new Akatsuki duo of 2 immortal dudes that are essentially wreaking havoc around the Land of Fire. First, they capture Niyugito and the Two Tails, which, sure, that's pretty impressive, but we don't get to see exactly what they do. They then attack the Fire Temple and kidnap Chiriko and to get his money and all that, because Kakuzu loves his money. And essentially, they destroy all of those monks very casually, and then they kill Asuma, a character that's kind of important, a Jonin of the Leaf Village that has been with us ever since part 1. Shikamaru's development in this arc is really great. Everything that has to do with Shikamaru, Hidan, and Asuma here works very well for this series. And then there's also Kakuzu, which is, of course, set up to be the strongest of the duo. And because we are learning about the nature transformations in this arc, Kakuzu so happens to have every single nature transformation, so we can actually put it to work what we learned during Naruto's training. Kakuzu uses fire and wind style to enhance his jutsu, just like Yamato explains to Naruto. Well, it's possible to make your jutsu more powerful. We also see Kakashi bypassing Kakuzu's earth defense with his lightning style because earth is weak against lightning. The Kakuzu fight against Kakashi and Team Asuma is pretty cool to look at, especially in the anime because they add some very interesting taijutsu attacks and combos in the anime, also more stuff with his heart spitting fire, lightning, and wind style towards Kakashi. But even in the manga, it's also great. We can see a very different fighter. Kakuzu has 5 lives, essentially, all those different mobile hearts that spit elements, and it's just really cool to look at. It makes sense for the story. And of course, Kakuzu is set up to be a menace. He even says, well, I fought the first Hokage, and yeah, until that point, we didn't know exactly how powerful Hashirama was. Obviously, Kishimoto, in that point of the story, didn't intend Hashirama to be as powerful as he ended up being, but still, Kakashi is like, okay, if this guy fought the first Hokage, then we are children compared to that. Like, we have no chance against this Kakuzu guy. Kakashi manages to destroy one of Kakuzu's hearts with his Raikiri, and then the strategy they pull with Shikamaru and Kakuzu's blood kills another one of Kakuzu's hearts. But then Kakuzu fuses together, and Kakashi, Ino, and Choji are essentially screwed. They're going to die. Kakuzu is about to kill Kakashi and his team, but then Naruto arrives with Yamato-sai and Sakura to help things out. And we're like, okay, Naruto was just training for his new extremely powerful technique. He's just arrived at the battlefield. This is probably gonna be very epic because the first time Naruto used the Rasengan against Kabuto, it was extremely good. So yeah, this is probably gonna be great. It's Naruto fighting against an Akatsuki for real for the first time because, yeah, sure, he fought against Deidara, but that one barely counted, and he fought against Itachi, but that was a body double. So this is for real. Like, yeah, Kakuzu was set up to be extremely powerful. He did a lot of cool things, and now Naruto has arrived with his new powerful jutsu. Let's see what's gonna happen here. Unfortunately, Naruto versus Kakuzu is really whack. It's one of the worst fights in the entire Naruto series. And it's insane because this is Naruto's debut in Naruto Shippuden. I mean, at least as far as set-piece fights go, right? Of course, he had fights in Naruto Shippuden already, but this is the first big one that he is going to participate and be the protagonist of. Now, one thing that's pretty obvious is that Kishimoto divided up the Akatsuki members so that they could face a couple of different characters from the main cast. Naruto and Sasuke got 2. Naruto got Kakuzu and Pain, Sasuke got Deidara and Itachi. He gave Sasori to Sakura, and Hidan to Shikamaru. The others didn't really go to the Konoha 12 per se, but he tried to divide them up well and give Naruto and Sasuke, the 2 main characters, at least 2 Akatsuki members for them to fight. Also, if you think about it, Sasuke's debut fight in Naruto Shippuden was Sasuke versus Deidara. Sure, he had a brief fight against against Team Yamato in the Tenchi Bridge arc, but that one barely counted. It was just a little tease. And then he also fought against Orochimaru, but that was a big stomp. Like, there wasn't barely a fight there. So the first time Sasuke actually had to sweat and work hard for a fight was the one against Deidara. The first fight he had against an Akatsuki. It's essentially Naruto versus Kakuzu here, the big debut of the character in Naruto Shippuden. Sasuke versus Deidara was amazing. I've made an entire video about why that fight's great. But then you go back to Naruto versus Kakuzu and things, they just fall apart. And as I said before, the things that led up to this fight were great. When Naruto says, "Everyone, stay out of this. I'm gonna take care of this guy." We're like, oh, right, this is gonna be fire. Naruto's going for it. And then he uses the Rassenshuriken for the first time. Says, "Futon, Rassenshuriken!" Kakashi remembers when he clashed his Rasengan against Naruto's wind-style Rasengan, and Naruto essentially blew up his hand because, yeah, the wind-style Rasengan is going to be much more powerful. Kakashi then looks to Naruto's back and sees Minato in him. This is great. I love when the characters are juxtaposed like that, when Naruto is standing and then a character sees Minato because they're so similar and Naruto is catching up to him. Those things are great. But then the fight starts. And Naruto versus Kakuzu, it doesn't work. Like, Naruto rushes Kakuzu with his Rassenshuriken and 3 clones to distract Kakuzu. 3 clones. Naruto never uses 3 clones before this fight. For some reason, he decides to fight this Akatsuki character that fought Senju Hashirama in the past, and that was actually beating Kakashi here. He just needs 3 clones, like he used 5,000 against Gaara in the forest. But no, like, I'm just gonna use 3 here because reasons. Now, maybe you could say he was sparing his chakra because he was training a lot and using a lot of the clones to master the Rassenshuriken just before he came to the battlefield. But, like, just do more than 3? 3? Really? He could create more clones when Orochimaru used the 5-pronged seal to completely nerf his chakra capabilities and mess up his entire chakra network so he couldn't control it properly. It was doing way more clones than 3, and then when he faces Kakuzu, he's doing 3 clones? So you're like, yeah, this is not gonna work. Naruto is not faster than Kakuzu, right? He's not gonna be able to do anything with 3 clones. No, it works. And it works, but it doesn't, because the Rassenshuriken fizzles out because Naruto is not completely adept at using it, but Naruto literally manages to distract Kakuzu with 3 clones and blitzes him with a Rassenshuriken, a jutsu that's so loud the characters themselves that are around Naruto, they acknowledge the sound of the thing. It's too loud, like, it's crazy how loud this thing is. And Naruto blitzes Kakuzu out of nowhere. Of course, the Rassenshuriken fails here because Kishimoto wanted to create some tension. If it works out of the gate that way, it would be way too easy. Take Naruto versus Kabuto when Naruto used the first Rasengan, for example. He used the Rasengan before he actually landed it on Kabuto, and it didn't work because he didn't use the clone. He was trying to do the same thing he was doing before. And the same thing goes here. Like, the first time the Rassenshuriken fizzles out because Naruto is not very good at it yet. And I'm fine with that. It's just that the way Naruto managed to almost beat Kakuzu out of the gate is stupid. Kakashi and Yamato had to kind of rescue Naruto because he gets entangled by Kakuzu's threads, but it's okay, like, no big deal, right? Naruto can just go and try again. He says, "No, I have to be the one to beat this guy." And think about this for a second. Naruto's saying, "I don't need you guys. I want to try and actually beat this guy by myself." This diminishes the tension of the scene substantially, doesn't it? It's as though we know, oh yeah, Kakuzu's just gonna lose now. No need to worry about the safety of our characters because Naruto's saying, no, yeah, I got this, and if I don't get this, you guys get this. Kakuzu should be attacking the people from the Leaf Village, putting them in danger, making things tenser, but no, he's just kind of standing there, doing nothing, looking at Naruto use the Rassenshuriken come towards him again. Imagine how much more gripping this fight would have been after Naruto arrived. improved if Kakuzu actually put everybody in danger. If Kakuzu hit Kakashi, for example, with a powerful attack, or Sakura, or anyone for that matter, and then Naruto had to actually go for it. If Naruto had some trouble using the Rassenshuriken, if Kakuzu was fast and dodged the attacks Naruto was using against him. Imagine if Naruto needed the help of Kakashi and Yamato using their attacks to distract Kakuzu, and also way more shadow clones. Like, this guy was set up to be powerful. He fought the first Hokage, right? He shouldn't lose to this 15-year-old boy with a couple of shadow clones, right? But no, Kakuzu just kind of stands in there for the second time as Naruto rushes him with the Rassenshuriken. Sure, this time at least he tries to counterattack the one holding the Rassenshuriken, but turns out, no, that wasn't the real Rassenshuriken, it was a shadow clone. And then Naruto comes from behind and hits Kakuzu with the Rassenshuriken for real this time. Let me remind you, this jutsu is extremely loud. There's no way Kakuzu wouldn't have heard the jutsu coming from behind. Naruto had to be light speed in order to tag Kakuzu so fast for him not to notice. Kakuzu could have reacted by using his massive tentacles or his masks with fire and wind style to attack Naruto coming from behind, but no, he just takes the hit. When Naruto hit the Rasengan on Kabuto, first, one of Kabuto's arms was taken out of commission by Tsunade in the previous fight, and then, in order for Kabuto to be grappled in place so that Naruto could land the Rasengan, Naruto willingly got hit by Kabuto's kunai in the hand. The kunai pierced through his hand, and then Naruto grabbed Kabuto's hand so that he wouldn't be able to move away from the Rasengan. That's how Naruto hit him. It makes way more sense than Kakuzu just standing there and getting blitzed by the Rassenshuriken 2 times because he was too baffled that Naruto used a shadow clone to distract him. If you compare this fight to Sasuke's debut against Deidara, let's call this their debut, the first Akatsuki fight Naruto and Sasuke have in Naruto Shippuden, Sasuke's fight is one of the most strategic battles in the shonen genre, to be honest. Not even in Naruto. It's amazingly layered. Every single strategy Sasuke implements against Deidara, how their powers interact, everything is great. And it's also a tough fight. It feels earned. People say Sasuke had plot armor because he used the reverse summoning, but that makes complete sense. Sasuke was not out of chakra. That was Deidara saying that, and Sasuke still had his Sharingan activated when Deidara said Sasuke was out of chakra. And the entire scale and epicness of that fight, ending with C0, but also the things that came before it, C4 Karuta, Sasuke using the curse mark to fly and tag Deidara from behind, the strategy with the mines and Deidara's dragon. Everything was epic and great about that fight, but Naruto versus Kakuzu, it goes with 3 shadow clones, attacks Kakuzu, Kakuzu gets distracted, Naruto hits Kakuzu, and this happens 2 times. It's essentially 2 rushes Naruto does against Kakuzu, and that does the job against one of the most quote-unquote powerful Akatsuki members, which now, it's definitely not the case because, yeah, Kakuzu got destroyed by this baby-amped QB Naruto. He had the QB eyes, but that was about it. He had more QB chakra when he was fighting against Kimimaro in part 1, for example. And obviously the Rassenshuriken's a powerful jutsu, but he shouldn't have been able to hit Kakuzu if Kakuzu was so experienced and powerful as he's stated to be. This fight against Kakuzu makes him look so weak and pathetic. It's kinda sad, to be honest. Like, the fight lasts 2 chapters, it's not very prolonged. And yeah, I'll say that in the anime, it's very epic when you see Naruto wielding the Rassenshuriken for the first time with the background music. It looks great! But then the fight itself, it doesn't deliver. It's not like Naruto landing the first Rasengan. Even though the Rassenshuriken training was more interesting than the Rasengan training, the payoff sucks! It was far too easy. It didn't feel like Naruto earned that hit against Kakuzu, and this should have been a major fight in the series. It's the first Akatsuki opponent Naruto is fighting as a protagonist. And it feels like Kakuzu's strength level dropped 95% 100% and his IQ points drop like 80, when the antagonist feels nerfed so that the protagonist can beat him, this is not a very good sign. It makes things less believable, less interesting, less engaging. And let's be real here, this fight was exceptionally rushed. Not because Kishimoto wanted, but his editors were actually telling him, hey, move along, we have to wrap up this arc, okay, we got the Shikamaru moment, just kill Kakuzu, make Naruto deliver the Rassenshuriken, let's go. Don't linger too much because we have to keep the manga moving. If you don't know this, the Naruto manga has an extremely fast pace. If you're just used to the anime, you'll be very surprised how fast the manga moves. And usually this very fast pace works for its advantage. However, some fights, this one in particular, can be very rushed because of it. Naruto needed a couple more chapters in this fight for the first confrontation he has against an Akatsuki member to feel epic and earned, and also to make the entire training arc of the Rassenshuriken feel earned as well. Another fight that was kinda rushed was Naruto vs Sasuke in the Valley of the End in Naruto Shippuden. The final fight of the series also felt rushed because, yeah, the editors were telling Kishimoto, you have to wrap up by chapter 700, okay? Just do it quickly, man, come on. You may be getting very mad at the editors right now, but that's not the entire truth, because the editors of Naruto did some very great things for the manga, which I can get into in another video. But in this situation, yeah, they didn't help very much. The Kakuzu fight fell flat, and it didn't really work, which means that the first big fight Naruto Uzumaki gets after the time skip, that he is the protagonist, and that delivers in an emotional level, was Naruto vs. Pain, which is several hundred chapters after the time skip. It took a while for our boy Naruto to get a big fight in his own series after the time skip, which is pretty weird. And what's more annoying is that the build-up Kishimoto did for Kakuzu was pretty good. The fights he had before the Naruto fight were great, and he had interesting powers. Very different, very exotic. But then when we get to the climax of the arc, well, it doesn't really deliver, does it? Now, you can argue that the Shikamaru fight against Hidan was the climax, and this is not a lie, but you were dealing with two Akatsuki members here. Both of them deserved good final moments, am I right? Kakuzu definitely has the weakest death out of any Akatsuki. He doesn't deliver an emotional impact. It doesn't make you feel bad for him. It doesn't make you feel like it was an epic victory. I mean, the Rassenshuriken hit is cool. It's not terrible, but it just doesn't have the same weight as any other Akatsuki death, or, for instance, the first Rasengan Naruto using his Kabuto, which I'm saying over and over again because I really like that scene. Imagine if in the Sasuke vs. Deidara fight, the fight consisted in Sasuke rushing Deidara 2 times with his Chidori. The first time he fails. The second time, hooray, Sasuke hits Deidara with a Chidori and wins the fight. Would that fight have been interesting? Now, I'm not saying every single fight in the manga needs to be 5 chapters long. A lot of Naruto fights last for only a few pages, which is completely fine. Naruto is fast-paced. But some fights deserve a little bit more. Hell, Sakura and Chiyo vs. Sasori is one of the longest fights in the series, and it's really great. Some people don't like it because in the anime they keep on cutting between filler scenes. If you don't know, the entire thing about Team Guy versus their doppelgangers fighting endlessly is a couple of pages long in the manga. So the Kazekage Rescue arc pacing is good, but the Chiyo Sakura versus Sasori fight is pretty long in the manga too, but it's deserved because Sasori is an Akatsuki member, Sakura is an important character that's getting essentially her debut fight in the entire series, and almost every Akatsuki member had a very memorable, climactic, and epic final moment, including Sasori here, but Kakuzu, no, he didn't. He got shafted by 3 shadow clones in the Rassenshuriken. Twice. Even Conan, who's the Akatsuki member with the least screen time, gets a very sweet death. And sure, the fight against Obito is kinda short, it's like 2-3 chapters long, but the death scene is great, and it has an emotional impact. Kakuzu is just very underwhelming, and then when he returns in the war arc, he's getting blitzed by Isumo and Kotetsu, and shafted by Tenten. So, yeah. Kakuzu is pretty much disrespected. Ever since Naruto shows up in the battlefield, he becomes a worthless character that's very weak and has no potential in the story whatsoever. Sure, when Kakashi finishes him off because Naruto doesn't really kill him with the Rassenshuriken, Kakashi has to go and kill him for good with his Raikiri, but he says the next generation will always surpass the old one, because Kakuzu was like, oh, how come this boy defeated me and all that, because I'm like 90 years old and I shouldn't have lost. Yeah, Kakashi has an interesting lesson here. The next generation will surpass the previous one, but if Kakuzu hadn't dropped 69 IQ points to fight Naruto, then this wouldn't have happened. Anyway, subscribe to this channel if you enjoy my content, like this video to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, and watch this other video right here for more cool Naruto content as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys.